Hey everyone, Mike Rowe here. I've worked a lot of dirty jobs in my life, but lately I've been hearing about a whole new kind of mess. A perfect storm brewing in the world of construction. We're talking about the basic building blocks of, well, everything. Lumber, steel, concrete, you name it. The stuff that holds up our houses, our schools, our bridges. It's all getting way more expensive. And I'm not just talking about a little pinch at the pocketbook. We're talking about potential project delays, budget blowouts, and a whole lot of frustrated contractors, homeowners, and well, everyone. So, what's going on here? Why are the costs of these essential materials skyrocketing? Stick around and we'll dig into the reasons behind this looming construction crisis. First up, let's talk about lumber. It's a topic that might seem mundane at first, but trust me, it's anything but. Remember when you could get a pickup truck full of 2x4s for a couple $100? Those were the good old days when lumber was cheap and plentiful. Yeah, those days are long gone. Now, walking into a lumber yard can feel like stepping into a high-stakes auction. The price of lumber has been on a roller coaster ride lately, and unfortunately, it's been more uphill than down. Prices have soared to unprecedented levels, making it a hot topic in the construction world. One of the biggest culprits? Supply chain disruptions. Remember those? They've caused delays and shortages, pushing prices even higher. Turns out, getting trees from the forest to the lumberyard isn't as simple as it sounds. It involves a complex process of logging, transportation, and milling. Throw in labor shortages at sawmills, a surge in demand for new homes, thanks low interest rates, and you've got yourself a recipe for sticker shock at the lumberyard. The demand has outpaced supply, leading to skyrocketing prices. And don't even get me started on tariffs and trade policies. These have added another layer of complexity and cost to the lumber market. It's enough to make your head spin. The combination of all these factors has created a perfect storm for high lumber prices. The bottom line is, whether you're a contractor framing a new house or a homeowner building a deck, that lumber is going to cost you a whole lot more than it used to. So next time you're planning a project, be prepared for some serious sticker shock. Next up, let's talk about steel. This one's a real gut punch, folks. Steel is the backbone of our infrastructure. Bridges, skyscrapers, hospitals, you name it, it's probably got steel in it. But here's the thing. Global demand for steel is through the roof, and supply just can't keep up. Add to that skyrocketing energy costs, it takes a lot of juice to make steel. And you've got a recipe for some serious price hikes. We're talking double-digit increases in some cases. And guess what? Those increases trickle down to everything from the cost of building a new highway to the price of a new car. It's enough to make you want to build a bunker out of, well, you get the idea. Now let's talk about concrete. It's the literal foundation of our built environment, and unfortunately, it's also caught in the crosshairs of this construction cost crisis. The ingredients of concrete, cement, sand, gravel, they're all getting more expensive. Why? Well, for starters, transportation costs are way up. Remember those supply chain issues we talked about? Yeah, they're hitting the concrete industry hard. And then there's the issue of demand. Infrastructure spending is on the rise, which is great news for our roads and bridges, but it also means that the concrete industry is struggling to keep up. All of this adds up to higher costs for everything from sidewalks to skyscrapers. Let's move on to copper, shall we? This metal might not seem like a big deal at first glance, but it plays a crucial role in our daily lives. This might sound like a small thing, but copper is essential for electrical wiring and plumbing. Without it, our homes and buildings wouldn't function as smoothly. And guess what? The price of copper is going through the roof. Over the past few years, we've seen a significant increase in its cost. Why? Well, it's a classic case of supply and demand. The more we need it, the more expensive it gets. Global demand for copper is soaring, thanks in part to the booming renewable energy sector. Renewable energy sources are becoming more popular and they require a lot of copper. Wind turbines and solar panels need a lot of copper, folks. These technologies are essential for a sustainable future, but they come with a hefty copper price tag. But here's the rub: copper mines are struggling to keep up. The extraction process is complex and costly. Mining is a tough business, and finding new copper deposits is getting harder and harder. The easy-to-reach deposits are mostly gone. Add to that environmental concerns and political instability in some copper-producing countries, and you've got yourself a recipe for some serious price volatility. These factors make the copper market unpredictable. So that new wiring job in your house? Yeah, it's going to cost you. The rising price of copper means higher costs for construction and renovation projects. Now let's talk about something that might seem a little less glamorous than copper, but is just as important: drywall. You know that stuff that makes up your walls and ceilings? Yeah, that's gypsum. And guess what? It's getting more expensive too. Why? Well, for starters, there's a shortage of raw materials. Gypsum is made from a mineral called, well, gypsum. And it turns out that finding enough of the good stuff is getting tougher. Add to that increased demand from the construction industry. People are still building houses, folks, and you've got yourself a recipe for higher drywall prices. So, that new addition you've been saving up for? Yeah, it just got a little bit pricier. Alright, let's talk about insulation. Whether it's fiberglass bats, spray foam, or those fancy new eco-friendly options, insulation is key to keeping our homes and buildings energy efficient. But here's the thing. Insulation materials are getting hit by the same supply chain disruptions and increased demand that are plaguing the rest of the construction industry. The raw materials used to make insulation are getting more expensive, and transportation costs are through the roof. And guess what? Those costs get passed down to you, the consumer, so that energy-efficient home you've been dreaming of? Yeah, it just got a little bit more expensive to build. Now let's talk about something that might surprise you: plastic. I know plastic gets a bad rap these days, but the truth is, it's still an essential material in the construction industry. From PVC pipes to vinyl siding to roofing materials, plastic is everywhere. But here's the thing, the price of plastic is going up. Why? Well, for starters, the raw materials used to make plastic are derived from petroleum, and we all know what's happening with oil prices these days. Add to that manufacturing bottlenecks and increased demand from the construction industry, and you've got yourself a recipe for higher prices on everything from plumbing fixtures to window frames. Let's move on to aluminum, shall we? This lightweight, durable metal is everywhere in the construction industry, from window frames and door frames to siding and roofing. But here's the thing, the price of aluminum is soaring. Why? Well, it's a combination of factors. For starters, global demand for aluminum is strong thanks in part to the booming electric vehicle industry. EVs use a lot of aluminum, folks. But here's the rub: aluminum production is energy intensive, and those skyrocketing energy costs we talked about earlier, yeah, they're hitting the aluminum industry hard. Add to that supply chain disruptions, and you've got yourself a recipe for some serious price hikes. So, that new aluminum-clad skyscraper going up downtown, yeah, it just got a whole lot more expensive to build. Now let's talk about something that's clear as day: glass. From windows and doors to facades and skylights, glass is an essential material in modern construction. But here's the thing, the price of glass is going up. Why? Well, for starters, the raw materials used to make glass, silica sand, soda ash, limestone, are all getting more expensive. Add to that rising energy costs, it takes a lot of heat to melt sand, and you've got yourself a recipe for higher glass prices. And don't even get me started on the specialized coatings that are used to make energy-efficient windows. Those things are like gold these days. So that wall of windows with a view? Yeah, it just got a whole lot more expensive. Finally, let's talk about the finishing touches: paint and coatings. They might seem like a small part of the overall construction budget, but trust me, they can add up quickly. And guess what? The price of paint and coatings is going up too. Why? Well, for starters, the raw materials used to make paint and coatings, pigments, resins, solvents, are all getting more expensive. Add to that transportation costs and labor shortages, and you've got yourself a recipe for higher prices on everything from interior paint to exterior stains. So, that fresh coat of paint on your new house? Yeah, it just got a little bit pricier. So there you have it, folks. We've taken a deep dive into the current state of the construction industry. From the foundation to the roof, the costs of construction materials are going through the roof. Lumber, steel, concrete, you name it, prices are soaring. It's a perfect storm of supply chain disruptions, increased demand, rising energy costs, and labor shortages. Each of these factors alone would be challenging, but together, they create a formidable obstacle. And the worst part? There's no easy fix in sight. The industry is grappling with these issues on a global scale, and solutions are neither quick nor simple. So, what does this mean for you? Whether you're a contractor, a builder, or a homeowner, these challenges will impact you in significant ways. Well, if you're in the construction industry, it means you're facing some tough decisions. You might have to rethink your project timelines and budgets. You might have to delay projects, which can be frustrating for both you and your clients. Get creative with your materials sourcing, perhaps looking into alternative or recycled materials to keep costs down. Or have some tough conversations with your clients about rising costs. Transparency and communication will be key in managing expectations. And if you're a homeowner planning a renovation or building a new home, the landscape has changed dramatically. Well, it might be time to adjust your budget and your expectations. You may need to prioritize certain aspects of your project over others. One thing's for sure, the construction industry is in for a bumpy ride. The road ahead is uncertain and flexibility will be crucial. But hey, I'm an optimist. Despite these challenges, there's a silver lining. I've seen firsthand the ingenuity and resilience of the hardworking men and women in the trades. Their ability to adapt and innovate is truly inspiring. They've faced challenges before, and they'll find a way to navigate this one too. The spirit of collaboration and problem-solving is alive and well in the industry. It might not be easy, but they'll get the job done. Every obstacle is an opportunity for growth and improvement, and that's something we can all be grateful for. The dedication and hard work of these professionals ensure that our homes and buildings are safe and sound, because at the end of the day, we all need a roof over our heads and a solid foundation beneath our feet. These are the essentials of life that we often take for granted, and that's something worth paying for. Investing in quality construction is investing in our future. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates. Stay informed and stay prepared.